Welcome to So Anyway It's Haunted.
Yep.
This is your week. I don't know how to say weekly. I don't know. We do a podcast where we talk about paranormal stuff and folklore
and then cats yell at us.
Yeah, cats yell at us, as you heard at the top. And we read your paranormal stories.
Oh yeah.
We are back, Jack.
Baby.
All right, we're here. Just got off of work, about to eat dinner.
Yeah.
So is there any catching up we need to do before we start?
Did we watch any horror movies since last time? I don't think we did.
No, we didn't watch any horror movies. No. We thought our washer was broken earlier. It's not broken. That's awesome.
It's like a horror situation.
That kind of. Yeah. It's apparently just me and you today on the podcast.
He was diligently reading.
That was a funny
He was
joke.
doing all his research right as we were starting. No, now I know what I'm talking about today. Shall we jump into it?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, what are we jumping into? Like a
pool of water, I'm assuming.
Potato sack of baby powder?
It was a pool of water.
Sure, okay. Yeah,
potato sack of baby powder?
A potato sack of baby powder would be more like...
Ew, okay.
That's good. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Foley people, please hire me. I'm in desperate need.
Foley is awesome.
Yeah, it is. I'm always amazed by Foley.
Yeah, it's sick. All right, okay. What do you got for us?
All right. So this week, I'm going to talk about a tiny island called Poveglia. And I got most of my info from historicmysteries.com and travelchannel.com. And I think Cracked had like a top 10 creepy facts about this island, which is pretty good too. So it's a small island located between Venice and Lido in the Venetian Lagoon in northern Italy. A small canal divides the island into two separate parts, and the island is first mentioned in Chronicles of 421. That's year 421.
Wow.
And there were probably people on that island like way before that, like in the 2000s BCE.
Wow, that's crazy.
But I guess this is like the first recorded. So they went there from Padua and Este after they fled the barbarian invasions in their land. The invasions were led by Alaric the Goth and Attila the Hun. It's pretty sick.
Who came first?
I don't know.
Hopefully Attila.
Yeah.
Because, the Goth was like a secondary phase that came after the whole...
Wow.
Okay. All right. So for a while, these people lived peacefully. And mainly because they were so small and out of the way, and their island was easily defendable.
I thought you meant the people were small. They were like...
Oh,
they were just
they
so
were
small.
tiny.
They didn't want to start fights.
They were very tiny people, and everyone looked down on them.
Small guys.
But their place was easily defendable, so it wasn't really worth invading by anyone. But however, by the start of the 14th century, the population had dwindled, and the island was abandoned. But then, in 1348, the bubonic plague hit Venice.
Nice.
Yep. And everyone around there was like, hey, wouldn't it be a great idea if we use this tiny island that no one's using right now as an isolation island, a quarantine island? It's called a lazaretto in Italian. So at the slightest sign of plague, many people were sent to the island to live and die in isolation. Yeah, it was basically a death sentence if you were sent here.
Jeez,
Yeah.
Not entirely, because there were some people that recovered somehow. But
Somehow.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, even if they thought you were showing signs of the plague and they sent you there, what if you weren't showing signs of the plague? And then they were like,
They're
you're
just too
just
jumpy.
on this island with like hundreds of people that actually have the plague.
Yeah.
Ugh.
It's rough. Rough stuff. So let's see. The grounds of the island were soon overloaded with the dying and dead, and a giant pyre was built at the center of the island to help alleviate the overcrowding of the island. By 1379, a war had kicked up with Genoa.
Genoa.
Genoa. Yeah.
I am familiar.
So this is after the island was used as an isolation. It had stopped being used as a quarantine zone at this point. So they built an octagonal fort on Poveglia.
Man, they love forts.
It's pretty cool looking. So this was to help with naval defense in the lagoon.
Mm-hmm.
But despite government encouragement, the island was once again uninhabited and undisturbed for nearly 2 centuries after this.
Oh my gosh.
Then, in 1576 and 1630, the bubonic plague made a comeback.
Oh my gosh.
The island was again reused as a quarantine zone.
Dude.
Yeah, it's no good stuff comes from this
that's
island.
rough.
So this is a quote from I'm assuming some sort of what you would consider a journalist at the time. The sick lay 3 or 4 in a bed. Workers collected the dead and threw them in the graves all day without a break. Often the dying ones and the ones too sick to move or talk were taken for dead and thrown on the piled corpses.
No.
Yeah, no good. Bad stuff.
Can you imagine? Ugh.
Yeah. In 1777, the Magistrate of Health turned the island into a checkpoint community, complete with a hospital, bell tower, church, and housing.
Wow.
And this community was used to screen ships and their goods as a preventative measure against diseases. However, in the 1790s, surprise, surprise, 2 ships failed inspections with signs of plague on board.
Dude.
So, once again, Poveglia became a quarantine colony for about 10 more years.
Wow.
Yeah. So, after that, once the hospital and checkpoint closed at the beginning of the 1800s, the Venetian government decided, hey, we have a lot of these mentally ill people. What if we could just send them to an island?
Oh my lord!
And basically forget about them. So the hospital was converted into an insane asylum, and the asylum was poorly constructed and was primarily and openly used as a place of exile, rather than care or rehabilitation.
Why is that such a thing for like mankind? Is like we see people that are not. I want to say like I don't want to say able-bodied, but it's like able-bodied of the mind.
Yeah.
You know, like why is it that like we see other people that aren't fully there and we're like, let's just get rid of them. Let's forget they exist.
It's like you want to, you want to forget.
Messed up.
Yeah, it's dark.
Like it's hard to take care of someone who isn't entirely sane or who has special needs, but it's like, man, just messed up to be like, see you.
Yeah.
Here's this island. You're stuck on it till you die.
And we exist in a way that's like above thinking. We have cognitive thought. We make decisions based upon, opinions and queries and different, balances. But I do wonder if to some extent there isn't like some science behind it, because when you think about other intelligent creatures, at least, kind of intelligent creatures, there's a lot that like if you notice an abnormality in them, a herd will still deject. And it depends.
Yeah,
like they talk about how like wolves will like take extra care of like other sick wolves in their pack, but like also that one whale that, was kind of like malformed and couldn't sing in the same hertz level as the rest of them was ignored. So, I don't know. I wonder if there's like a brain thing or something that...
Well, it's like...
but the thing is like...
horrible things where mothers and fathers, animals, like, eat their babies because they know they can't take care of them. Or eat their runts or whatever.
Yeah.
But injured birds, like, if a bird gets injured and they're in a huge flock, 1 to 2 other birds will stay with them until they're able to fly to where they're going.
Yeah.
So it's, like, good and bad in nature.
Yeah.
But nature is terrifying.
Yeah, nature is unforgiving.
Yeah.
So comment below if you would
if you are a wolf.
if you would stay with 2 children or if you would eat the 2 children.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Full immunity. Full immunity. We won't go to the cops.
This is
just give us your name and location. So, of course, with any ill-conceived mental rehabilitation establishment, there is, of course, a legend of a mad doctor.
No.
Who would, away from the eyes of ethics and God, perform bizarre experiments on patients in the hospital's bell tower.
Lord. Is this real?
As far as I could tell, probably not.
Okay. That makes me feel better.
So eventually, according to legend, he grew more mad and flung himself from the top of the bell tower. Or perhaps he was pushed by an avenging spirit.
Okay.
The island asylum remained open until 1968.
That is
surprising.
so long.
Yeah. It's kind of like when you hear like the guillotine was technically in use until the 70s.
In France.
Ooh.
France had the guillotine until the 70s. Like, what? Like, the Beatles were already played out by then.
Yeah.
And the guillotine was still happening.
Yeah.
What the heck, dude?
It's a good thing we're not visiting France.
When it was abandoned by the staff and patients in 1968, and then it was repurposed as a retirement home.
Nope.
No, you can't do that. Sorry, not allowed.
Until
Nope.
1975. So the buildings that remain on the hospital, I guess the ones that are still standing, or the buildings that remain are the hospital, the church, and a warehouse for boats. The Italian government has tried to auction off the island, but no one is willing to pay more than $700,000 for it. So I guess they consider it not worth their while.
Jeez Louise, that's pretty low for an island.
Yeah.
Did you, by any chance, already mention like the square footage of it?
No, it's a pretty big island. It's not a super small island.
A couple miles long or something.
I mean, we could raise
What's funny?
$700,000.
That's what I was... Is that going to be our first crowdfunding?
That's our stretch goal.
Come on, guys.
We own a haunted island in Italy.
I'm going to get pushed from the bell tower, but then like more hands are going to like push me back up.
Ew.
There'll be ghost hands pushing you down, but ghost hands pushing you up. Is that
Yeah,
what
they
you're
can't
saying?
make up their mind. It's just like...
Oh, okay.
Ew. Why are you oiled up?
No, that's just the sheer amount of hands that are...
Oh.
Ugh. Why are they clammy?
Because it's an island.
Can we just put this in perspective, though? It's an island. Can we put them in perspective? That there are houses here in Texas, too, but there are houses in California, just a normal-looking house.
Yeah.
Like a normal 5-bedroom house, whatever, for, like, more than $700,000.
Yeah.
That's just a house.
It's the Property Brothers syndrome.
Yo,
You look at it and you're
saying.
like, wow, you pay that much for that?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, that's like everything in California. It's more expensive. But what I'm saying is you could buy an island for the same amount of money as a house.
Yeah.
Why is this place so cheap? It's not like someone was killed here.
Only hundreds and hundreds of people over hundreds and hundreds of years.
Well, so during an excavation of the island, archaeologists have unearthed over 1,500 skeletal remains in burn pits on the island and mass graves, and there are estimated to be thousands more still in the ground.
I can't fathom that.
And still to this day, many bones, charred bones, still wash up on the shore.
Oh, dude, I can't even imagine like the energy there.
Yeah,
like
dark stuff.
Staying
Super
a night
positive.
there. Can you imagine?
So peaceful.
They're all at peace.
My complexion was just so clean when
Glowing.
I came back.
I went to a silence retreat on that island. It was heavenly.
My aura is purple.
Yeah.
Whatever that means. I don't know. Someone tell me what that means.
It actually, I know what it means from the books I've been reading.
Okay, what does it mean?
It means you've been eating a lot of eggplant.
Shut up. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's right.
Yeah. You okay?
So, there is a thriving grape vineyard on the island. I think it's not really manned by anyone, but it's just sort of like overgrown with a bunch of grapes. And supposedly the Italian government lets winemakers go harvest each year. And many claim that it's due in large part to the amount of ash in the island's soil.
You don't say.
Oh, yeah.
Grapevines do well in ashy soil, and some have said
they do.
that parts of the island's earth is composed of more than 50% ash.
Like ash is in human bone ash?
Probably.
Dude. I would love to try that wine.
Yeah.
That's
No.
kind of creepy, but like I'd love to try
It's a
that
haunted
wine. Are you
wine.
kidding? For my job, I'm not going to say where I work, but I am a server at a nice Italian restaurant. We have to know our Italian wine.
It's a Johnny Carinos.
Thank you.
I'm gonna pinch you so hard. Sorry, I'm watching Cosmo. Look his butt. Anyway, look away. Yeah, the terroir of the ash, like how it will change the essence.
Yeah.
Of the and it's on a coast too, so you're gonna get sort of like the coastal sort of winds and the minerality of the ocean. It's gonna be, and also all those ghosts.
Yeah, can you taste
Yeah.
the bad
I was about to
vibes?
say, you know when like you
like
get a
drinking
water
oil.
hose that's just like, and you're trying to like stop the water hose, but
Yep.
it's just like freaking out.
Yeah.
It's like the moment you drink that, your lower intestine just pops out. Like,
No!
when you try to get it,
Oh,
but it's
no.
just like spraying everywhere.
You're killing me.
Don't drink the
no.
wine.
That's horrible.
I wonder what aura those grapes have, though.
Grape flavored. Purple.
Purple kind.
They wear really good noise canceling headphones whenever they go to harvest the grapes, because every time they pluck a grape, it's like
Muscoozy.
Oh my lord.
Locals have claimed that you can still hear bells coming from the destroyed bell tower site,
Ooh.
and screams of patients coming from inside
Oh
at
my
night.
lord.
So now the only people who go to the island are thrill seekers, looking to break the law and post it on YouTube. However, all who've gone to the island report the strong sensation of being watched, as well as being scratched and pushed. And as people venture into the hospital, many have claimed to be followed by shadows and chased down hallways by unseen forces.
Wow.
Yeah. And we watched a
Yeah, I like.
Urban Explorer video.
Yeah, the other day you were like, I really want to watch this video of what
Yeah.
I'm gonna do, but you didn't tell me anything about it, and like it was really interesting, and everything's so overgrown and like beautiful. But the
Yeah.
entire time they had this like unsettling background music to the video, and I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I'm
That's
not even
kinda cheesy.
freaked out, but it was just like, and I was like, dude, like what?
Yeah.
It was awesome though.
This like combines two of my favorite things, which is like island communities and like abandoned places.
I didn't know you
love
like island communities.
it. Yeah.
Huh.
he watched
Cool.
Moana like 12 times.
You've never seen Moana in your life.
No.
Yeah, we need to watch it together.
Okay.
I didn't know you like islands. Interesting. It's like nature's fort.
Yeah. Yep. That is true.
It is funny though that with the bubonic plague being as widespread as it was, and certainly not starting in Italy, but in like northern Europe and China, that they were just like, should we A, go and fortify the place and make sure that nobody can get to us, or B, send all of our sick there, thus making the island a desolate wasteland of plague and death?
Yeah.
B.
I think we all
All
know
of the
the
above.
answer.
Unanimous.
All right. That's it.
Do you have pictures?
Oh, I do. Whoops.
Apple TV.
So yeah, you guys, if you want to check out that Urban Explorer video, what can they look up on YouTube to see it? That's so beautiful.
I think I just typed in Poveglia Urban Explorer or something like that.
Okay. You guys can find these pictures, of course, as always, on our iTunes and on our Facebook page. I usually post them on the Facebook page.
What is up with islands and like insane asylums? That's like, I feel like that's a trope.
Out of sight, out of
I
mind.
don't know.
That's true.
True.
Oh no, what about those mental patients? What mental patients?
They can't swim.
Yep.
Oh,
So I guess
sorry,
this is
I said
like
that was dark.
this is like the chapel. It looks like
These are the people.
or something like that.
It's so beautiful.
Oops.
Honestly, it's like I'm looking at these pictures and I'm only freaked out because it is old and overgrown.
Yeah.
But it doesn't scare me. But I'm sure if I was there, it would scare me.
Yeah.
Ooh, those stairs are horrible. Those stairs are like caved in.
Spooky.
I just always wonder how things just become that way.
Oh, orb.
You know? That's not... Okay.
Oh, and there's a octagonal fort.
Dude.
Is that a helicopter?
Helicopter pad?
Yeah.
I don't know.
What is the octagonal
Kind of
fort
defeats
for
the
again?
purpose if it's.
You still have to take a small boat.
I think it originally was like, I think there was a fort there or something like that. Or they had some sort of fortification there.
So...
Because that's totally man-made. Like,
100%, yeah. Oh, man, that thing is huge.
yeah, the island's pretty big. And like, there's the canal, like at the top. So I think it goes on further from that.
Yeah.
And you see that bridge in the video that we watched, that bridge connecting
Yeah.
the canal
I think I
sides.
remember that.
Yeah,
Dude, only 700,000, I'm just saying, that's a steal.
it's true.
That's a steal for so much history and so much paranormal stuff.
Yeah.
Find us on GoFundMe. Can you imagine if we raised $700,000 to buy an island? We
be
couldn't even
crazy.
pay the taxes, though. We'd buy it,
Yeah.
but, like, there's no way. Are there
Yeah.
taxes on islands?
There's gotta be.
I'm assuming
And
so.
I would be furious.
All right.
Well,
Do you know how mad I would be
what a dream.
if we could have that money, but only to buy a haunted island? I would be livid.
You would pay off your student loans, but you only have, like, $50 left, so
Oh, yeah.
sad.
Yeah.
You can go to the island. And they wouldn't be able to find you.
See, but that's
True.
literally it's just me being what's his face from Jurassic Park with there's no force on earth or heaven that would make me go back to that island. And they're like, I'll give you $700,000.
What, are you just saying that if we got it, you wouldn't go to it because you're scared?
I would go to it.
Or that you would spend the money on something you would want more than an island?
I can think of several good causes that money could go towards. That's
I
not-
can't think of any.
That's not my own skeleton jumping out of my body and strangling me
Oh,
as I sit there going,
Stop making those horrible noises! Ew!
Don't forget being pushed up and down the bell tower by ghost hands.
True.
yeah, not my cup of tea. So, oh, I'm sorry. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. Get off my plane. We're done with the world travel thing. If you've got an urban legend,
Oh,
from
really?
for the time being, I wanted to go back to a new kind of area that I'm studying, which is the reality behind urban myths and legends, which sometimes reality can be scarier than fiction. Ooh.
I don't believe that.
Vampires are real. I'm here to tell you we're doing a follow-up episode today because one works in my office and we talked about it and they're like, I didn't really like that episode. You kind of paint us in a bad light. And I was like, I'm just reading Wikipedia,
Oh, they listened to
man.
our podcast? That one episode?
Were they offended when you
That was
dressed
nice.
up as Dracula for Halloween?
Yeah.
Sexy Dracula.
Yeah.
And then my skeleton jumped out of my body and strangled me. No, I don't work with a vampire, though I do recognize the fact that there are vampires
Oh,
in
yeah,
our
they're
society.
real. They're
Yes.
real.
Not necessarily the ones I defined in our episode, but yes, to some degree, vampires definitely are real.
Okay,
Yep.
all right. Let's
Anyways,
get on with it.
I believe it.
Anyways, we're not even talking about vampires today. So, you might have seen it in movies. You might have read it in short stories. You might have just heard it in offhand from someone describing, oh, that would be the worst. So, being paralyzed and being put into a medical-induced coma, but being aware the entire time,
That sounds horrible.
that is a living nightmare. And that is not what I'm going to talk about tonight.
Why did you even bring that
no,
up?
sorry. Because it's important that it's related to, though not directly, to the actual sickness that I ended up doing. So that was the rabbit hole that I started with. And then I did some research that was off the internet, dug into some books, and found out about an instance that happened in 1917, and in America was widespread for a while during the Great Depression, that basically, as one hospital as one hospital employee described, was like working in an entire building of statues.
Ooh.
What the heck?
Ooh.
Your fingers made a weird noise.
Listen to my ashy fingers.
Oh, you're starting a fire.
Stop it.
The grapes
Stop
they
it.
would make would be delicious.
This is like the equivalent of you listening to people crunch on stuff. All I can imagine is your skin cells flaking off.
Straight into the mic.
Ew!
So, anyways,
It used to be black, now it's ashy
no.
white.
So,
Gross.
So first I will give you a tidbit from the Wikipedia page here of the actual disease, because this thing did exist. This wasn't just a myth of people in hospitals being traumatized. This actually happened. And the medical phrase for it is Encephalitis Lethargica. Lethargica.
Okay.
Like lethargic.
Yeah. It is also known commonly as sleeping sickness or sleepy sickness.
Oh.
So anyways, it was first described in 1917 by neurologist Constantine von Economo and the pathologist Jean-René Cruchet. It was, first and foremost, the most scary thing about it, it was an infectious disease. It was
What?
widespread. It wasn't
What?
like,
So how
you
did
know,
it spread, do you know?
I'm getting there.
Sorry, I just want to know everything at once.
So the disease attacks the brain, leaving some victims in a statue-like condition, speechless and motionless.
Oh.
Between 1915 and 1926, an epidemic spread around the world. Nearly 5 million people were affected, a third of whom died in the acute stages. Many of those who survived never returned to their pre-existing aliveness.
What?
What the heck, dude?
Yeah. So, oh yeah, we can say that's right. I forgot my own writing. So,
What?
well, how does this urban legend? Well, there was literally people describing people walking around as the earliest depiction of zombies.
Yeah, yeah.
Because a lot of people that did eventually get cured of this, like it described right there, didn't really return back to a normal state of functioning.
Yeah.
And it was just you don't want to. I don't want to say
like you got brain damage after that.
Yeah, there was like several things missing with people. Sometimes it would be emotion. It would be, they couldn't experience a certain type of mood, or like. Anyways, we're getting to that.
Man.
So here are some of the symptoms. The course of encephalitis lethargica can vary significantly between individuals, particularly when accompanied by pre-existing or simultaneous diseases and disorders. Yeesh. It is characterized by a high fever, sore throat, headache, lethargy.
Lethargy?
Yeah, lethargy's right.
Lethargy. Oh, I'm so used to being wrong.
What?
Delayed physical
Wow,
and mental
that's horrible.
responses, sleep inversion, and catanoia.
Sleep inversion?
Catatonia?
Catatonia.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Like being catatonic?
Yeah. In severe cases, patients may enter a coma-like state. Patients may also experience abnormal eye movements, Parkinsonism, upper body weakness, muscular spasms, tremors, neck rigidity, and behavioral changes, including psychosis. So,
That's a crazy list of symptoms.
This sounds literally horrible. Like,
Yeah.
legit.
yeah, living nightmare.
Yeah.
So, some studies that have explored the origins of the autoimmune response, and separately or in relation to an immune response, links to pathologies of infectious disease, viral and bacterial. In this case, where a link with encephalitis is clear, it was Parkinson's that was clearly documented to have followed the outbreak. 1918.
Wait, so this was an early disease before Parkinson's? Or, like, this was Parkinson's before they knew what it was?
So it's bizarre because in looking at that, something they found that they treat today for Parkinson's was used to cure it.
Okay.
And so it both is and isn't.
Okay.
It's like if people had Parkinson's, this was right around the corner. They were like easily infected, and vice versa.
I see.
But like
it's like shingles and chickenpox.
yeah,
Man, Parkinson's sucks.
Yeah.
We support you, Spoonies. We support you.
Spoonies?
I don't know if people with Parkinson's consider themselves Spoonies. It's like people with
So anyway,
autoimmune disorders.
that is enough of Wikipedia. Let's get to the good stuff.
This reminds me of watching Ripley's Believe It or Not. That show, I think it would come on like
Yeah, I used to watch
TNT or
that.
TBS or something like that. I remember nothing except for the most like disturbing like teenagers with weird diseases sections.
Yeah.
Like this reminds me, there was a girl that had a sleeping sickness where she could not stop sleeping.
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
They had to wake her up in order to feed her food. Like she is like unable to do much of anything because she just can't stop sleeping.
Oh my gosh.
And then there was another girl who her tears burned her skin.
Yeah,
I saw that.
remember
Yeah.
That's wild.
It's insane.
That's so sad.
Yeah. That's all I remember from that show. Is
Yeah.
those two
Yeah, I
like
used to
horrible
watch that too.
things. And also there was an old guy that was a really good archer. Yep.
Sweet.
Nice to take something away from it that was
He
positive.
could shoot an aspirin out of the air.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he was insane.
I would not want to see now if he owned the island, and basically you get a most dangerous game, but in reality,
No,
You'd
wait.
be dead instantly. What are you talking about?
He could shoot an aspirin out of the air while on top of a car.
goodness sakes.
Yeah.
See, that's the
Was he
thing, and he's
driving in
old.
the car?
He's old too, so it's like he's thinking about it. Let's raise the money for him, and just trust his good moral character. But then obviously we know there's no trust. He's just like, well, I'm 98 years old. Welcome to my island. And they're like, okay, yeah, this is cool. Thanks for treating me. I love the ashy wine. Can I go now? And he's like, well, that's just it.
You can try.
Be my guest.
And then he shoots it, and it goes right through the retina of their eye.
Ew.
Clean, right through the entire body.
What?
Too easy.
They never make it difficult.
All right. What
Okay,
book
so
do
anyways,
you have
back
in
to-
front of you?
So, this is Stories of the Strange and Unusual, Facts and Fallacies.
By who?
Okay.
By Mr. Reading Digest.
Oh yeah. It's a really old school looking
trying
book.
to-
I really like it.
Trying to avoid saying that, but
My bad, dude. You found this at
You
the
have to credit
library.
your authors. Mr. Digest
yes,
worked really
thank
hard.
You. Thank you, Mr. Digest. So,
Mr. R. Digest.
So, to explain how this is actually a pretty cool book, this is from 1986.
Yeah.
It's old.
Yeah.
And they actually preface with the fact that they're like, yeah, a lot of what you're going to read will probably be proven wrong later. That's the whole beauty of the book. That's what's called Fact and Fallacies, is that it talks about a lot of mysteries and urban myths that, occurred back in the day that nowadays are like, well, actually, it's not a myth. It's this. Or just, stories of the strange and bizarre. But, yeah, so this particular article that was about the disease is referred to as the story, I Am a Living Candle.
What?
Yeah, which is an actual quote from one of the patients that, awoke from it.
Wow.
So-
That's so
A
like
living
beautiful and
candle.
poetic. It's so beautiful.
Maybe. Or maybe he just thought he was a candle. I mean,
Was he made of wax?
yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, then, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
they're like, actually, we cured you, but your skin is pure wax.
Ew.
Stay out of the heat. Like,
Also, don't make sudden movements.
oh gosh. So, while working in a hospital for, oh, jeez, starts off strong, doesn't it? While working in a hospital for the Incurables in New York City in 1966.
66?
So 66. Okay, this is why this is important. The disease broke out in like
Oh no,
the early.
dude.
Oh yeah, these
So
people.
it was 1917 and then again in the 60s.
No, I'm not saying that it broke out again. When they finally got around to like finding a cure for it, that was in the 60s.
Oh.
So,
Oh, wow.
so yeah,
Wow.
Little world building here. English neurologist Oliver Sacks chanced upon the survivors of one of the strangest... Really?
Yeah, who's Oliver Sacks? Why does that sound so familiar?
I read one of his books. He wrote a really good book. He is known for taking on sort of like really bizarre neurological cases. And the book I read...
Was it called Awakening?
No, but I do know of that one. I didn't read it. I can't remember what the one it was like basically an anthology book. He had like 5 different cases in that book, and it was really interesting.
Cool. Sorry if I interrupted you.
No, it's cool.
But I was like, Oliver Sacks.
So anyways, Oliver Sacks chanced upon the survivors of one of the strangest epidemics of modern times. These wards, he wrote later, were full of strange frozen figures.
Wow.
Human statues as motionless as stone. A terrible... sight. The patients were victims of Encephalitis Lethargica, or the sleeping sickness. The disease had appeared in Europe quite suddenly in 1915, and by 1918 had spread throughout the world. The illness took so many forms that doctors were bewildered at first. Some believed that dozens of different diseases had broken out. Others simply called it an obscure disease with cerebral symptoms. Good job, doctors. Nice to know. Also, something else I'd like to state. So the astoundingly amazing thing about this is that a lot of these people fell ill in like the 1920s in America. And, it was around the 1950s and 60s that some of them were able to be cured. Came out of the coma, they treated them. In this day and age, they'd be like, nah, he gone. And then they would throw me into a pyre and set me on fire. And,
oh, gosh.
And then my island would be worth... See, we're coming back. We keep coming back. So anyways...
Call back.
It affected 5 million people, but no 2 cases were the same. About a third soon died. Some fell into a coma from which they never woke up. Others suffered many days and nights of sleeplessness, and they too perished. Those who did survive often found their personalities cruelly altered. According to Sacks, children became impulsive, proactive, destructive, audacious, salacious, and lewd. Other victims neither conveyed nor felt the feeling of life. They were insubstantial as ghosts and as passive as zombies. In 1927, the epidemic was over. It had vanished and suddenly and mysteriously, it vanished as suddenly and mysteriously as it had arrived. More than 40 years later, the hospital in New York, Sacks came upon some 80 survivors. The long-term effects of sleeping sickness, which had developed into forms of Parkinson's disease, turned many of the patients into living statues. So, soon after Sacks began working at the hospital, he learned of the successful trials of an experimental drug, L-Dopa, which was revolutionizing the treatment of Parkinson's disease. Could it be used to help those patients as well? In March 1969, Sacks began to prescribe L-Dopa for them. The effect was amazing. The living statues came to life. Patients, motionless and frozen in some cases for almost 5 decades.
Oh my gosh.
Were suddenly able to once again walk and talk, feel and think with perfect freedom.
Wow.
The once quiet wards hummed with activity and excitement. Some patients described the limbo in which they had as, I ceased to care about anything, said one. Nothing moved me, not even the death of my parents. I forgot what it was like to be unhappy. Was it good or bad? It was neither. It was nothing. Although they became aware of almost half a century... Although they became aware that almost half a century had passed since the onset of their illness, many patients behaved as if it was still the early 1920s. For them, time had stopped. A man who had raced cars in his youth continually drew what were by 1969 vintage vehicles. Wow. A woman afflicted in 1926 spoke with the era as if she was still living in it. But the Great Awakening did not last. Some patients thrived in L-Dopa, others underwent almost unbearable tribulation. As Sacks put it, joy became mania, mobility became frenzy. It seemed as if the patients could no longer be contained, as if some essential moderator was missing. These occurred in a bursting forth not only of involuntary movement by chorea, but tics and mannerisms, bizarre motions and notions of an increasingly complex, capricious, and compulsive kind. Entire behaviors, entire repertoires of a most primitive and even pre-human sort were seen. Whew. So, today, a handful of the victims of the strange epidemic and its protracted aftermath have died. Yet they taught doctors much about the working of the brains and the possible effects of the drugs, such as L-Dopa. The patient of Oliver Sacks, a patient of Oliver Sacks, asked him to tell their story. One wrote for all, "I am a living candle. I am consumed that you may learn. New things will be seen in the light of my suffering."
Oh.
Wow.
Wow.
So, yeah. Freaky deaky, man.
Yeah.
So do you know how it spread?
They said that it was viral.
Okay.
So, imagine your favorite zombie movie. Cough, cough, sneeze, wipe your nose, grab a hand, kiss somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's intense.
Speaking of viruses, here's a little tidbit that we can talk about with the current news before we go on to the ghost stories. Going back to you, the third cat in America, or we're already on to our third cat that has developed symptoms of the bubonic plague in America.
No.
And they said, this is obviously, and you can fight me on this. I'm ready. You're not a ghost. I'll take you on. It's because of the unvaccinated generation of kids that are like being, yeah. So a lot of these
Anti-vaxxers.
dead diseases are coming back with a vengeance.
Yeah.
I mean, I was vaccinated,
Same.
so I'm good. They're not going to bubonic me, but I'm worried for some of you kids out there. Yeah, once it goes full blown and people's limbs are falling off and they're like,
Stop.
maybe I'll have a problem, but we'll see.
Yikes, that's rough.
Are you bubonic? Write in.
What? Ugh. Go see a doctor. All right. So I got a lot of stories. By the way, thank you for that. That was very creepy and horrifying. So I got a lot of really cool stories this last week, but I'm only going to read one an episode because they are all very long and also very awesome. So I want to be able to take the time and break them down, talk about them if we want to.
Right.
Okay.
So this is from our friend and listener, Monica. We haven't heard from her in a while, and she's got a lot of really awesome stuff. Just to say.
Ooh.
She says, "Hey, so anyway, it's Haunted. So sorry I haven't been in contact for a bit, but I have been listening. Today's email is going to be a novel, so if you feel the need to chop it in half or whatever, do so. I'm just going to put my responses all jumbled up to all 3 episodes here. LOL. First off, my condolences to Rory. I'm sorry your grandma passed away in such a way. You passed in such a way. It was a super intense story. Second, waking up laughing. I haven't woken up laughing, but I have woken myself up yelling stuff like, you gotta be kidding me. Or are you serious right now? But the most common thing for me is crying, like wailing, and I still don't wake up. My boyfriend usually has to shake me out of my fits. There are 2 dreams that I specifically remember. So here we go.
Oh.
The first one, I can only remember the end, but my sister was being a bully, and she had this animal carcass that she had gutted in her hands.
Oh.
Whoa.
It was like a medium-sized dog or a really fat cat, and she wanted to place my head inside of it. I resisted her, but she said she'd pinch me, so I sat still.
Oh my gosh.
And in parentheses, she said, "Don't judge me. Dream pinches really hurt." Into parentheses. I felt it down my head. Oh wait, I felt it and down. I felt it, the warm, bloody flesh slowly sliding over and down my head. I closed my eyes because I didn't want to see the insides and get blood in my eyes. She said I was whimpering, my sister laughing. When the opening got past my mouth, I started screaming bloody murder. I just couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't breathe. The carcass was wet and suffocating me, and then I woke up because my boyfriend shook me out of it. She said. He was like, "Are you okay?" He said, "You're okay. It's just a dream. I got you." And held me until I calmed down. She said, "I'm shaking a bit just remembering it." In the second dream, I was walking down the main road of my neighborhood, and it had medians with trees and grass. In my dream, there were these big squares of black plastic on each median. like 6 to 7 feet tall boxes with black plastic wrapped around them. So like 7 by 7 by 7 black boxes. At the opposite end of the road in front of me, I could see this man walking up to each box, throwing gasoline on them and lighting them on fire. I walked up to one of the boxes. One of the boxes close to me to see what he was burning. I poked a hole in the plastic but couldn't see inside, so I decided to tear a little bit bigger. Then the plastic tore open, and inside I saw like 20 plus dead bodies tied together like sardines or asparagus. She said I screamed, and then the bodies fell onto me.
Oh my gosh.
So I started scrambling to push all these dead bodies off of me, and I look up and to see the man walking towards me with his canister because he had just set the box before me on fire, and now he's after my pile.
Wow.
She said, I'm wigging out. The bodies are getting heavier. He's getting closer to me. I started wailing, screaming because I couldn't push the bodies off of me and I was going to get burned alive with these rotting bodies. So I woke up to my boyfriend trying to calm me down. She said, I feel so bad because I know I freak him out when it happens. Imagine you're sound asleep, then all of a sudden you hear blood-curdling crying from beside you. She said, to be honest, I'm not sure if I'm that loud, but I feel like I'm screaming like that while I'm dreaming. She said, he just tells me that he hears me freaking out or crying. He also told me to mention that these dreams usually come when I take heavy sleep aids like ZQuil and Unisom, not bashing them because they do knock me out, but I only take half of the dosage now. She said I have 2 other creepy dreams where I got physical remnants from the dreams besides crying, but I'll save those for another email. They're on my list of things to tell y'all.
Creepy.
Yes. I love it. I love it. I love it. She said, I did the same thing as Rory with my sister when she went through her sleepwalking/talking phase. It was back at the farm. Do we remember the farm?
The farm?
Remember she had that dream where she kept waking up in the farmhouse?
Yes.
And like a riot was outside?
Oh, yeah.
Goodness
Golly, that was horrifying. Ugh. Okay. She said it was back at the farm, and she would always end up in random places around the house. She says it's a scary feeling waking up somewhere you don't remember laying down before. Well, one night, I was in my bedroom, and she walks into my doorway and just stands there. I'm like, what's up? And she mumbles, what? Where's the lotion? The lotion? Yeah, where's the lotion? In the restroom. Okay. And I kid you not, she walks into the restroom and just stands there in the dark for a few minutes. She said a creepy little girl standing in the dark looking for lotion. She then went into the living room and laid down for the rest of the night. She was confused when I asked if she found the lotion the next morning, and she stopped sleepwalking after we moved out of the farmhouse.
Oh.
I think that might be the creepiest part.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. She said, I'm also the dream interpreter in my group of friends, and I'll sit and talk about their dreams with them so they come to their conclusions, but sometimes we just have these intense dreams that don't make any sense whatsoever, like the dreams above. She said, I've heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, #corrections corner, but there are these things called stress dreams. Back when we were nomadic or had to sleep with our backs to the walls with one eye open, we were on our toes. It's that fight or flight instinct that kept us ready if trouble popped up. Now we live in a more developed environment and society, and we have the luxury of security and safety, so our brains need a way to keep us ready for trouble. It'll occasionally run these scenarios for us to, quote, experience, so we won't completely flip out or shut down if we actually do run into a similar situation to the dream scenarios. She said, I now know that if I'm running away from cannibals to grab a knife and not ask for help until after I reach a populated area. Also, don't run down the road. Run in the bushes and woods beside it so you can hide if they come after you because you've escaped. She said, thanks, brain. Thumbs up. She said, and I have the same uneasiness when I see inhuman shaking.
Yeah.
She said, like, stop, man. There's this scene from A Tale of Two Sisters, a Korean horror movie.
Ooh.
Good movie, by the way. Would suggest.
We should watch it.
Don't hum at me.
She said, where all you see is someone's hand shaking and scratching from underneath the wardrobe. And she said, I could not.
Yeah.
That and moving dismembered body parts. Like, you're not attached to the main body. Why? Stop moving. She said, Thing from the Addams Family kept me from watching the movies for such a long time because I couldn't get myself to watch something where I knew a dismembered hand was freely moving on its own.
Yeah. It has a mind of its own, too.
Exactly.
It thinks.
It's
How?
weird. Like, where's the brain?
I don't know.
Where's the brain go?
Where's the brain go?
That's a surprise. Okay, she said, I remember back in high school, I was at a friend's house and a gecko made it into her room. She told me to catch it and hand it to her. Me, thinking it's a regular lizard, grabbed it by the tail and it popped off and started shaking and flipped out. Oh, she said I flipped out. It was just there on the ground, twitching and moving about as the rest of the gecko made its escape. She's like, oh my god, how? Like, I know how, but like, how?
Yeah.
She said, anyway, on a lighter note, attached are some images. So I've shown Mac and Allie these images. I have not shown you. I wanted to keep it a secret because I wanted y'all to have like a genuine reaction when I show you.
Okay.
Oh, I'll still be excited.
Remember, you can find her at I'll find her Instagram in a minute to make sure I'm right. Okay. She's an amazing artist. Anyway, so she said, anyway, on a lighter note, attached are some images. I hope y'all enjoy them. If you zoom in, you can see Mac with... Oh, hold on. Here we go. Let me put it on mirroring for a second. Here we go. First of all, let me just show you these here. Yeah. She has an amazing... It's amazing. Okay. She says... If you zoom in, you can see Mac with his milk mustache. Okay, hold on. Let me read. I don't know what to read first. Okay, so what we're looking at, and I'll post this on the Facebook and on the Instagram.
Yes.
And it is a milk carton in her style, which is an amazing style. Very like,
oh my god,
almost like pastel goth. I don't know if that's an insult, but I definitely see that. It's like cute, but also really dark.
Yeah.
It says Uncle Mac's Mystery Milk, and there's a drawing of Mac. And like a white button with a bow tie, holding a glass of milk, and there's a thumbs up coming from behind him that is Sasquatch. It says Uncle Mac's Mystery Milk. Underneath it, it says On the side, it says straight out the teat, light green hue, chunky texture, very grainy. Disclaimer: do not add anything; it'll become mud. And then on the bottom in quotes, it says, "If I like it, you'll like it."
Oh god.
Okay, so she says, if you zoom in, you can see Mac with his milk mustache gently pinching his teat. Over a glass of milk, as mentioned in episode 16. I think it came out looking pretty dope. It did. It looks amazing. She said, if y'all send me your mailing address, I can send the original. Okay, listen. She said, if you'll send me your mailing address, I can send the original to y'all if you want. And then in parentheses, she says, I'm coming for you, Mac. As always, she says, enjoying the show. Much love, Monica. So you can find this image on our Instagram and on our Facebook.
It's beautiful.
And in the last couple weeks, especially this last week, we've talked about making shirts. And Mac has drawn up a couple ideas for shirts. We would love to get shirts out soon, like in the next 2 months or so. Like have stuff drawn up and just go for it, man.
That'd be fun.
So I was talking to Monica and I was like, dude, we should do this shirt. We should collab on the shirt. We will absolutely anyway. Yeah. So I think we should collab on the shirt. I think it's an amazing shirt.
Yeah.
It would look insanely sick. Yeah. So be looking out for that, man. And find her on Instagram as, let me make sure I'm getting it correct. Doot. It is GHTBNS. That stands for Ghost Bones. That was her original show name. GHTBNS on Instagram.
You sure it's not goat buns?
No, she said it was what? No, babe. Oh my gosh, her thing says dead inside. That's hilarious. She literally is an amazing artist. I love her style. It is so beautiful. It's so unique and gorgeous. Yeah, and check out that Uncle Mac's Mystery Milk. The t-shirt coming to you soon, man.
Oh,
Oh, man. Awesome. Dude, there are so many cool stories that I got. Man, we just have a lot of cool stuff in store. Shirts and other merch, and yeah, it's gonna be awesome. I'm like really excited about it. So cool.
Excited.
But due to our brief hiatus, like you were saying at the beginning of the episode, no, we have not watched any horror movies. But anything spooky or worth mentioning at all from the past 2 weeks?
Well, I wasn't gonna bring this up, but
Knew it.
It's just a scary thing. It's like a dream. Not really a dream. Okay. So I had tea with tea. That sounds so dumb. With one of our other friends and listeners, Leanna. We met for the first time.
Oh.
At a coffee shop down the street, and we had a ton of fun, and we talked about a lot of really awesome stuff. And she's amazing. And I told her she should come on the show. She's welcome anytime, and it would be amazing. But I told her it was something I experienced. We've talked a million times about how I see stuff when I wake up. Who cares? But this particular time a few weeks ago, it freaked me out. And it's always weird because like I understand sleep paralysis, but it's like I don't experience sleep paralysis. It's like I see stuff, but I can move. I can move, I can talk, whatever. I don't know what that means. But we're just sleeping, like we're all asleep, whatever. And I woke up, and we have this like corner of our room. It's sort of this like indent where a door is, and that door goes into Mac's room. And we have I have like a coat hanger where I hang like my flannels and jackets and stuff. And my big giant flannel that I have, so like super oversized grunge flannel, it always looks creepy in the corner. Like it is darker than everything else. Like my other jackets are like white, whatever, 80s. But so this one night, like I woke up and I like just opened my eye, woke up, opened my eyes, and I looked over to the corner, and the flannel is there, except it looks like this sort of, it's just this figure, right? I don't know it's a flannel. It's a flannel. It's like I'm looking at it hanging up. But it's like a dark figure, and it just comes running at me. Yeah, like running at me. And I just jumped up, and I was like, oh my gosh. And I did that, and it woke you up, and you're like, what is it? And I was like, no, nothing, never mind. Because it wasn't a thing, but literally it like came sprinting at me, and it was freaking horrifying.
Weird.
Yeah, so there you go.
Huh.
That's it. Oh. But it wasn't really, it was just, I don't know. I don't know why my brain does that.
I'm sorry.
That's all.
My fight or flight has been like crazy on edge for the last few weeks. Something else worth noting, I had my first dream in years the other night.
What?
Years. Yeah, ever since lucid dreaming, I have not had dreams.
You don't dream?
No. My brain, I don't know if it's like a defense mechanism thing. I'm totally not making
obviously
this up.
your brain dreams, you just don't remember it because your brain has to process information.
Right. I know
we all
there's
know
the
that.
REM process, and I'm sure that if you paprika magically tapped into my head, you'd probably see weird floating images and like me running in like molasses. But I mean like
you do
first
love your molasses.
Yeah, I do love me some molasses.
The molasses training.
Sick gains, bro. Sick.
He does have a tub of molasses he does
calisthenics
cardio in. It's like when old people go to the pool.
Hey, shut up. I like doing pool stuff. You need to start doing pool stuff.
But anyways, I had my first like actual vivid dream the other night, which was pretty interesting, but I'll touch on that in a second. Once again in our lovely haunted house here in Houston.
It's not haunted.
Did I just say Houston? Okay, bleep that out. Both.
I talked about how we live near the Heights, so like it's over.
Gosh, it is over.
It's all over.
Monster Mac.
Thank goodness we at least have.
You've been doxxed
part of our
with this bullet.
We've already been doxxed. Kenny doxed us like a month ago.
No, Chinny Kilton.
My name is Chinny Kilton. Get on the ground.
Get
No
on the
relation.
ground.
Is he saying that through the webcam?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's why I have mine taped up. But anyways, our lovely haunted house here in Orlando, Florida.
Orlando, Houston.
Or no. So,
What? Just say the
like
thing.
a few nights ago, not a few nights ago, it might have been last week, but within the past week, there was at the witching hour. I have no clue what time it was. I didn't pay attention for once. I heard a loud crashing noise. It sounded like something in the backyard or like a door shutting, and so I immediately jumped up, ran in here, just like looked,
Oh my gosh.
looked at the doors, looked at the back door, and I realized one of the cats had to have knocked something over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They knocked that table over.
That's what it was.
That's leaning against the
Oh,
wall a lot.
yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah,
So-
you have to get used to like living
No.
with two cats,
No.
man. They just knock stuff over
No.
all the time.
And so the thing is, like,
Well, that
I
makes
had
me
to,
feel
like-
better that you heard something.
I had to
Yeah.
like take my ready to strangle someone hands and like march back into my room because I knew it was them. And like, there's been several times where I knew they had done something, but I still run around the house to inspect. And
That
just
makes me feel way better. Because usually it's me. Like before, it would just be like me, and I'm like, I hear something, and you're like, oh, it's not whatever. Like, who cares? And I have to get up. It makes me feel better that you get up and you're like,
Yeah.
who is it? Who is it? And I'm gonna stop.
And I run in there, and it's gonna be Cosmo staring at a corner going.
It's like that comic that I posted where the cat's like
go.
staring off
Is
into
it a bug?
space. Is it a bug? Is it a bug?
But yeah, he'll be like, "Blah, blah, 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 blah," and I'll be like, Cosmo, what's going? And I'll wake up in my truck at Lee Collins.
5 years.
Wow.
5 years.
That was a good one.
Now to go to class.
Anyways, the dream I had wasn't scary or anything like that. It was literally, I was in a judo tournament and I won, and I
weird.
felt bad about it because the guy I won against was like actually Japanese. It's weird because it was me imprinting myself onto an actual story that happened. I was reading about the Olympics back in I think it was 1956. Japan, great, good, love you guys. They actually had a in case you guys couldn't hear that in the recording, something came unplugged on the microphone. So,
Anyway.
anyways, 1956, the Olympics hosted in Tokyo. It was their year because whoever gets to host, and fun fact, they're the ones they get to be like, hey, here's a sport that I want you to add, so add it. So that was when judo actually was officially added to.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 1956. I probably got the year wrong. I don't know. Anyways, so that was the year they were like, hey, judo, and we've got a guy, and he's going to win. The guy was Korean.
Oh, no.
Doesn't matter. Whatever. Japan was still like, he's our guy. He's judo master. It was actually and I'm going to get this wrong, but one of the, like, part of the UK, it was like a Romanian or somebody, Bulgarian person actually beat him. And, like, they were just, like, you could hear the crowd, like, not in anger, but, like, raving. They were depressed. They were screaming. They were crying.
Yeah.
And, like, the guy goes over and, like, he bows to him before, because they tried to, like, pull him away from the crowd and, like, do the whole he's the winner thing. And he, like, no. And he bowed to the Japanese representative, the Korean guy.
Yeah.
And they freaked out. They loved him. They made statues because it was the first instance since the war that somebody had, like, shown respect.
Yeah.
And,
Wow.
even though that the guy had won, he was like, no. Your sport, your thing. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
And so it was just weird because I had a dream that was me, and I was like, whoa.
Weird.
And I think I understand it myself. It's that I want. it's my own twisted pride of wanting them to respect me because I know how it is over there. You're treated like a king or queen or whatever. You're treated like they put you on a pedestal as far as like politeness goes, but on a deeper level, you're a foreigner, and they're like, get out of here. But not get out, but like don't try to act like you can talk about any of our stuff. It's our politics. It's our rules. You're just a person here. Even if you get citizenship, they're like, no, you're still a weirdo.
It's like when you're hanging out with two people and you really want to be friends with them, and then they make an inside joke that you didn't realize was an inside joke, and you laugh at the inside joke.
Yeah.
And they're just like, you don't know.
Love inside
You don't
jokes. Love to be a part of one someday.
Yeah. Sorry, it's not gonna. Yeah, I can't. The day will come when you understand what the noises are that I make, and you won't just think that he's crazy. Or that I'm making
That
it
day's
up.
never gonna come.
Yes,
How many
it
years have I known you? I've known you for like over 10 years. It's never gonna happen. Never gonna happen.
This episode was brought to you in part by Disney Nature's Bears.
No, it's not. Don't say that. Cool. Anything else?
Quick, and on a scary note. Greatest fear that's not like... I just don't think I'll succeed. Man, I'm tired of hearing stuff like that for fears. I mean fear. Visceral.
I don't know if I have like fear. I do have a weird thing with like holes.
Yeah, it's a phobia.
Yeah, it is a thing.
It's
You're
like
right.
gross.
Trichophobia or something like that. Yeah, like the weird lotus pods and like bees nests and hornets nests, like
Really?
like holes and things just like really, really gets under my skin.
You might actually not like the show that I was recommending.
Okay.
Well, it's... whatever. I
Yeah.
mean, the whole plot revolves around a gigantic hole. So
Well, I mean, if it's
No, it's
a
like
hole,
it's
then-
like a
then
pattern.
Yeah.
A pattern of holes.
Something about like
symmetrical
a
holes.
pattern of like tiny holes
I read about that.
on
That's
like
weird.
skin, or like my worst fear is seeing it on like skin.
Oh, dude, gross.
You
man.
mean like, so if like there was like a super high definition photo of like pores, like
Yeah, probably. But if like the pores were like deep enough to where you could kind of see
Ew,
inside them,
gross.
like it really.
Stop. That's nasty.
I mean, I don't like get up and like run out of the room when I see them,
gosh.
but if I see them, I'm like, ooh,
Yeah,
and like it gives me
that's
chills.
gross, man.
I never knew that.
It like turns my stomach kind of.
I'm so sorry that Chris showed you that
Ugh.
honeycomb that we had.
The honey.
What
are you talking about?
The one that we weren't going to re-gift to Ashley before we realized that honey's not vegan. I'm gonna eat that honey.
I don't know. I guess honeycomb, like, I was thinking about it. Honeycomb kind of does it to me, but not a ton. And also, like, I would get freaked out. I should get freaked out by, like, the holes in, like, pancakes whenever you're making pancakes.
Oh yeah.
But, like, for some reason, I don't know. I'm just, like, immune to, like, pancake holes.
Your brain just understands what it is.
Yeah,
in that
I guess
moment.
so.
As a kid, I think I experienced something oddly similar. Like, it made no sense and it was irrational. It was if I felt like... So I had this weird sensation of, like, imagining, like, say, a pot, and that it would shrink. And it would keep shrinking to the point where I can't feel that it's in my hands anymore.
Yeah.
And the delicacy of tiny things... So the smaller and more delicate something is in my hands, the more freaked out I get.
Yeah.
Like my nerves just skyrocket. I don't know why. And it's not like I'm going to do something or, you know, like break it or harm it. It's just like this urgent sense of
Yeah.
literally.
It's so small!
Yeah, exactly. It
Small.
It does. My brain can't comprehend it or something.
Yeah.
But what about you?
Things I'm afraid of?
Yeah.
I don't understand. Like, what do you mean?
I don't know. Just like a fear that you have.
I have a couple. I have a fear of looking up at an airplane in the sky and seeing it explode. I have a fear of seeing someone hanging.
Oh, yeah.
I have a fear of specifically, like, when you're at the Galleria and those windows, like, on the ceiling and you can see the skyscrapers above. I have a fear of seeing someone jump to their death on top of the Galleria ceiling. What else? I don't know. I'm afraid of a lot of stuff. I have high anxiety. So, lots of stuff freaks me out. Whatever. Anyway. Yeah, I don't know. Those are specific things, but, like, yeah. It's not fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also have a fear of like dark ocean water and like
Oh,
the
yeah.
idea of swimming in ocean water.
Yes.
And like seeing, like, I always think like I'm going to see something gigantic like start to form out of the ocean water as I'm
Yeah.
swimming towards it.
Yeah.
And that idea freaks me out. I was playing Gex 64 on my Nintendo 64, and there's the Titanic level where you start in the ocean and you have to swim towards the Titanic, and
That's
it's so disturbing
dark.
to me. Like, even though it's like some cheesy low-res video game, Like the idea of swimming towards a giant thing, and as it starts to like form out of the darkness, it like really creeps me out. It's
I
really
never
eerie.
knew about that. I've never played Gex, so that's horrifying.
That also freaks me out.
Yeah.
The unknown in the ocean
Yeah.
and being subjected to it.
For some reason, the vastness of space does
Yes.
not bother me
What?
nearly as much as our own ocean.
Yeah.
It is the ocean that scares me more. And you know what? Maybe it's the fact that we don't know for sure how complex and if there is life out in space, but we know there are things down there.
Yeah.
And they are freakish,
Yeah.
stupidly strong, and just, horrifying. Now,
Yeah.
not like the Meg. Screw that movie. But just like...
Shout out to Izzy.
Yeah, thank you. But, definitely the deep ocean. You could not put... See, the thing is, I would love to go on a cruise, but you will never get me to swim, like, further than, like, what a football field's length out
Yeah.
into the ocean. No, screw
I
you.
don't want to get on a cruise.
Never. Really?
My mom told me a long time ago, she was like, "Oh, I hate cruises. Like, can you imagine like all these people with all their germs and coughing everywhere?" And then like my brain just went with it, and they were like, my brain was like, "Yeah, can you imagine there's an outbreak on the cruise ship and you don't have anywhere to go and everyone gets sick?" I'm like, "Well, great."
Yeah, but my
It's-
immune system is amazing. So.
Okay, sure. It's like when my mom, like in the freaking mid 90s, when escalator incidents started happening with shoelaces.
Yeah.
And my mom freaked out about it, and now I'm afraid of escalators.
Yeah.
Like I hesitate every time I walk on an escalator.
I just don't understand. So, okay, wait. First, I'm getting off track. Stick a pin in that for just 1 second. So, my fears, I only have really, it's like the deep ocean. Used to be pregnant women, not anymore.
Okay, sure.
What do you mean,
We'll
sure?
see. We'll see.
I get nervous.
We'll see.
I'm uncomfortable, but I'm not afraid of
For
them.
listeners that don't actually know McAnally, he had a very intense phobia of pregnant women for years. Like, very intense. Like, if one... I remember once you said, okay, you had a friend that was pregnant. She, like, made you come to her baby shower, and then you were leaving... And you were, like, standing outside, and she came out, and she was like, "Oh, you didn't say bye." And then she took your hand and made you touch her belly, and then you threw up.
Yeah.
Like, that's how intense it was.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
We'll
see.
I don't know. I mean, I don't want to touch you, but it's...
If I don't have to look at you or think about you or...
You've accepted the fact that there can be pregnant women.
Yes.
They just need to stand.
I've come
They
to
exist
embrace the
somewhere.
reality that I guess they're out there. Fine. No, I think my ultimate fear, though, is like loss of self. I warp.
Hello,
I
hello.
witnessed it in someone that I know, and I guess it just never occurred to me. Like, you hear of things, but seeing it, then you're like, oh, it's real. They had an anger seizure and like
Oh, yeah.
tried to bite someone's throat out, and then
Yeah.
I realized, me and my massive self, I was like, that's when it finally hit me, and I was like, that is my biggest, me dying, any sort of horrible accident or me exploding, which I say the crazier it is, the cooler, whatever, fine. If I don't know, got ran over by a Zamboni machine, whatever, but
By a reindeer.
by a reindeer, yeah. Cool, whatever. Like, I'm not too worked up about that because, I mean, your troubles are over once you're dead. It's me losing control of myself somehow, like not being in a state of mind and like who knows what.
Yeah.
So that's ultimate fear. What were we talking about? Stuck a pin in it. Escalators.
Escalator.
Escalators.
I was like, I have no idea.
So
dude.
yeah. Of the actual incidents that have occurred, which, whatever, maybe that's an urban myth. Maybe I need to look that up. But what I want to know is, like, did people really die from the shoelaces?
Feet were mangled for sure.
Mangled. Okay.
Yeah,
Because
but-
that's what I just understood. I was like, okay, my shoelace gets stuck. Rip off the shoe. Which I get it, for some people they didn't notice until it was too late. But I mean, like...
Yeah.
And for little kids too.
Yeah.
I think it was definitely that mangled, whatever. Maybe there are more news stories that I can't remember because it was from when I was a kid. but a few years ago, I think in the early 2000s, China had a lot of escalator issues where people did actually die.
Goodness
where it was
sakes.
like the platform when you are on the second, whatever you're going up, you're ascending to. The platform that you walk on, that sort of like metal grate or whatever, fell through, and people had just like fallen through and died like that, which only like fueled my fear of escalators.
Yeah, that'll do it.
But elevators are scary too, so it's like it's all bad.
I like taking stairs.
Well,
Stairs are nice.
naturally.
Before my knee got bad, I did too. Anyway, well, thanks for letting us talk about our biggest fears right before bed.
Yeah.
That's really great.
Yeah.
My stomach
Well, the
is in
show's
knots.
not called So Anyway, it's Sunshine and Daisies.
Sunshine, lollipops.
So anywhere we're sleeping tonight.
So anyways, look at all those shaking people in the corner.
Stop that!
Yeah.
Anyway, man.
Are scary images scarier or less scary with sound?
I don't know.
Probably could be less scary.
Depends on the image.
Depends on the sound, too.
Depends on the sound, exactly.
Yeah.
Is there a cat meowing?
Yeah.
Thumb. Come
Tiny
here.
cat. Tiny cat.
Meow to the people. Anyway, all right, look. We're done with this.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, so find all of the images that we talked about today on this episode. Stop it. She has her back claws out.
Oh, no.
On Instagram at Anyway It's Haunted, on our Facebook, the So Anyway It's Haunted fan club and forum. You can email us your paranormal story or your suggestions, your corrections, any kind of like crypto whatever. Like literally, if you have anything you want to say to us, email us, dude, or like message us. So anyway, it's haunted@gmail.com. You can message me personally if you know me personally. You can DM us on our Instagram. You can message us on Facebook. We just love hearing from y'all, and it's awesome to be able to like read listener mail. It's just really freaking cool.
Yeah.
We will keep y'all updated on merch and shirts. If you would want a So Anyway It's Haunted shirt,
If you would like a So Anyway It's Haunted t-shirt, please comment below and let us know.
yeah, there you go.
All right.
We'll have a few different designs. Yeah, dude, again, check out GHTBNS Ghost Bones on Instagram. Definitely follow her. Again, follow us on Instagram. Join our Facebook group. And definitely rate and subscribe to us if you are on iTunes. Or whatever platform you listen to. You can find us on Instagram. On iTunes, on Spotify, on Stitcher, on YouTube. Yeah, dude, like share us with your friends, man. We're going places in 2019. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Thankfully, we're very thankful for that, to have this platform. So we love you, spooks, and we will see you next week. Are you gonna do anything?
Boo.
Ooh, look at that animal.
Still good.
Da-da.
I'm the king of spooks around here.
Which one was the cat? Which one was Mac? You decide.
Anyway, we'll see you next week, you guys. Love y'all.
There is no cat.
Oh, also,
Bye.
Mac wants to do a new intro song, so if you're interested in doing our intro song, let us know. Okay, bye.
Bye.